What if I told you you could have your book written in 30 days or less? What if I told you that you could do this without AI and at the same time you could create a really high quality book that you're proud of that will generate business opportunities and impact for years or decades to come? Well, my name is Jake Kelfer. I'm a 4-time best-selling author, and I've used my books to build multiple businesses in the coaching, speaking, and book publishing space, where I now run a full-service book publishing company called Big Idea to Bestseller, where we help people just like you write, publish, and profit from nonfiction books to grow their business and make a massive impact on the world. And what I want to do is I want to share with you what I would do if I had to start over and how I would go about writing my next book in 30 days or less. Look, if you're anything like me, you're probably a busy person, but you also probably really care about your book idea, your book topic, the people you want to serve, the people you want to impact, and you don't want to just put out a BS book full of crap or AI slob. You want to put something that you could have your heart and your soul and your energy and your vibe all into this book so that you could actually be really proud of it and then use it for all the amazing ways that you could use a book. Whether that's content, speaking engagements, coaching clients, digital products, mastermind retreats, live events, changing careers, or whatever it is that you want to use your book for. Now, here's the funny thing about this. As I was prepping to share this all with you, I realized that every time I write a book, I'm essentially starting over from scratch. The only difference for me each time I've written one of my 4 books, and the only difference between me and you if you're a first-time author, is that I have more knowledge every time I start over. And I have more knowledge than when I did my first book, my second book, my third book, my 4th book. And now I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people do the same thing. And so I hope that this process that I've boiled down is going to save you a ton of time so that you can know exactly what to do if you were just starting about writing a book. And the funny thing about this is writing isn't the first thing that you're going to do. As a matter of fact, it is the last thing I'm going to share with you when it comes time to creating your actual book in 30 days or less. So let's break it down. There are 7 steps that I've boiled and put together that will help you if you were starting from scratch and you wanted to write a great high quality book that you're proud of in 30 days or less. So here's number 1, and this is step number 1. And I love this step because when I did my first book, I wasn't ready for this, okay? And it's this: commit. Step number 1 to writing your book in 30 days or less is to commit. Now, what I did and what I see so many people do is they're like, I want to write this book. I'm so excited about it. But they don't commit to a specific date. They don't reverse engineer their timeline. They don't put the time on their calendar. They say they're into it, but they don't make it a priority in their life. And look, I get it. There's a lot of things going on. But if you can commit to making your book your number 1 priority, and I'm not asking you to give up family time. I'm not asking you to sacrifice your entire workday. I'm just asking you to give an hour a day or less, okay? Just an hour a day, 3 to 5 times a week, all right? But if you can commit to that, that's step number 1 to writing a book in 30 days or less. Step number 2 is to set your intentions. So when you get ready to write a book and you've committed, you now need to set the intentions for why you're writing this book and what the outcomes are that you're looking to actually achieve. Because if we just start writing the book with no direction in mind, we're going to get lost. But if we write with a purpose, if we write with an intention, it allows us to make the idea better, the messaging clearer, and we're more focused because we're more excited, we're more invested. And so for me, I like to break it down like this. There's the internal intention and the external intention. The internal intention is, why are you doing this? Is it a gut feeling? Is it legacy? Is it impact? Is it something that you're called to do? Is it a message that you're dying to share with the world? That's your internal. What's causing you to really want to do this? And then there's their external intention. And this is the validation. This is the external reason, the reason that's bigger than just yourself. What do you want the outcome of your book to be? Do you want to have a bestseller? Do you want to do speaking engagements? Do you want to sell high ticket programs? Do you want lead generation? Do you want content creation? What is that intention? And when you know that, it's going to really help you understand what book is supposed to be coming out of you. It's to help you really flush out the concepts. Okay. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit, but this is really, really powerful because the clearer you are about what you desire, the easier it becomes around what topic you should actually create and who the book should be for, which then leads me directly into step number 3. And step number 3, if you wanted to write a book in 30 days or less, is to pick your book audience. All right. So when you're writing a nonfiction book for business growth or impact, the audience selection that you have is really, really critical. And here's why I think it's so important. One, the more specific your ideal reader is, the easier it becomes to create the content, the easier your messaging becomes, and the easier it is to pick the right stories and the right material to include in your book. Okay, so for example, most people, they say my book's for everybody. And I love that you want to help everybody. I do. But when you're writing a book, it's really hard to write as if you're speaking to every person. Okay, so if you could boil it down, and let's say you're writing a book on financial literacy. Okay, well, are you doing it for everybody to learn financial literacy, or is there like somebody in mind that's the perfect person? Maybe it's the recently married person who is trying to learn how to manage their finances a little bit better. You're going to speak to that person different than you would speak to somebody who is in a corporate job, maybe making $250,000 a year and looking to have more advanced investment strategies. The audience matters, okay? And here's what's really cool. When you write for one specific audience, there's a lot of people that fit into that one audience. And so you're able to create a niche book initially that could be broadened out as it goes further. All right, and I'll just give you an example for me. My book, Big Idea, it's a bestseller. When I was going through this process and when I was realizing, like, who is this book for? I really dialed it into, this is for the entrepreneur, the corporate exec who's been thinking about writing a book but doesn't know where to begin, doesn't think they have enough to say, and doesn't know what the outcomes of the book could be. And so I wrote this book specifically for that person. And as I got further along in this process, I zoned in on one person. And I was like, this book is for them. Because I knew that there were so many other people like them. Now, is writing a book on how to write a book the biggest mass appeal book that could be out there? No, absolutely not. It's very, very niche. As a matter of fact, the only people who are picking up my book are people who are interested in writing a nonfiction book. So I knew, though, that I wanted to commit to this audience. And that allowed me to write a great book for anyone interested. And it really, really resonated. It also allowed me to write the book really, really quickly. And I was able to write this rough draft in 17 days. And it was 32,000 words at the time when I did my rough draft. So that's step 3, is to choose your audience. Step number 4 is to put what I call book time on your calendar. All right. So when you are committing, you've got your intentions, you've picked your audience. Now I want you to actually look at your calendar. Look at your calendar for the next month, 2 months. Where can you fit in your time blocks? Now, there are 2 ways that I've seen work really, really well. There's I'm going to do it at the same time every day, non-negotiable. So for a lot of people, this is a early morning before the kids wake up. For some moms that we work with, it's in the afternoon during nap time. For other people, it is, you know what, I'm going to do it once everyone's in bed. I like my creative juices flowing late at night, and I could really commit to an hour 5 days a week. So some people like to do it based on more of a routine, and they like to do small amounts over a consistent amount of time. The other thing that can work really well, and this is all your preference, what works best for you, is larger time chunks less frequently. So for example, maybe you have Tuesday afternoons pretty open and Friday mornings pretty open. So you just block 2 to 3 hours off on each of those days, and you just allow yourself to spend that entire time committed to your book. But whatever it is, just pick book time, add it to your calendar. Here's the kicker, though. And unfortunately, I see this way too often. As someone who helps people do this for a living, is they put it on their calendar, but the minute something else comes up, this is the first thing to shift. And the reason for this, and I've asked a lot of people about, why does this happen? Why is this the first thing that goes? And they go, because in the short term, it feels like it's not as big of a priority as a sales call or as something that can generate guaranteed revenue today. And while yes, that is true, when you're writing your book, you may not make money the minute you're writing the book. It's also really important to understand, though, that this book is part of the bigger plan. Spend an hour a day now and then use this book for years and years and years to come. And so it's just a little perspective shift. But add book time to your calendar and commit to that, right? Go back to step number 1, which is commit. Honor your book time, and you'll be able to make so much progress. Writing a book is a lot simpler than people think, but it's because they don't have the right time. They're not speaking to the right audience. They don't have clear intentions. And this starts to make it less of a priority, and it starts to make it something that is a one-day thing. Well, let's turn one day into 2-day and actually commit to this process. Step number 5. Step number 5 is to hire a coach, work with a publishing company, or to find an accountability partner. The key thing here is you need to have accountability. You can use social media to hold you accountable. Okay, you can hire a company like ours where we'll actually guide you step by step. You can hire a specific writing coach. You can ask your friend who actually will hold you accountable to be your accountability partner, whatever it is. My big suggestion here is that if you really want to lock in and finish your book in 30 days or less, you need to have somebody hold you accountable. Okay? And if you do that, whoever it is, just make sure that it's really clear. You set your deadline and they know what your objectives are and what will happen if you hit it and what will happen if you don't hit it. Okay? Be clear on your expectations from what you need from your accountability partner. All right? Next up is number 6. Step number 6 is once you have all this stuff, you've picked your audience, you got your intention. Well, now it's time to validate your idea and to create your book outline. So to do this, you want to ask yourself some questions. What am I knowledgeable about? What am I passionate about? What do people already come to me for? What am I already getting paid? What's the number one thing I want to share with somebody? Okay. What do I want to speak on if you don't already have a speaking career? If you already have a coaching career, well, what is your framework? What is your methodology? What is your process? What is your personal transformation that you've already gone through? Oftentimes people teach to the people that they once were. I wrote my first book at 23 years old on career development. I wasn't a career expert, but I was 1 to 2 steps ahead of my college buddies, of my younger brother. And so I wrote the book for them. Okay, so once you do that, you'll have your idea. Then you want to create your outline. And creating your outline is really the simplest way to say this is take all the things you can teach, take all the stories that you have related to that, and put them together. And when you do that, you can have the teachable content that gets readers results with the story content that creates engagement, entertainment, relatability. And when you combine that, you allow people to come with you on the adventure rather than you to say, look how great I am. Here's everything you need to do. Instead, it's, hey, come with me on this adventure. Here's what I've learned. Here's what I actually went through. And let's grow together. Let's get results together. And that's how you're going to find and create your detailed outline. Which leads me to the next step. And I told you this at the very beginning. The last step is then to actually write the rough draft. Now, the key thing here is when you write your rough draft, don't expect to be perfect. Would you expect to be a perfect Spanish speaker if you learned to speak Spanish in 1 month? No. Would you expect to be perfect if you picked up golf and go to the PGA Tour in 1 month? No. So why would we think we're going to have a perfect rough draft in 30 days? The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to get all the concepts, all the material down into the written form. I like to give this analogy of a puzzle. If I open up a new puzzle and I only have 75% of the pieces, am I going to be able to complete the puzzle? Of course not. If you try to edit your book as you go, if you try to think about the end product of your book before it's actually written, you're not going to be able to finish the book. So your rough draft allows you to get all the puzzle pieces out onto the paper, and then you can use that to now self-edit it, to make it better, to refine it, to add things, to subtract things, to add more stories, to add more statistics, to get more references, to remove stuff that wasn't actually important. And that's why writing a rough draft is not about being perfect. It's just about getting it onto paper. And so if you do this, if you follow these 7 steps, and these are the same 7 steps that I would do if I were to start over and I wanted to write a high quality book in 30 days or less that I could use to generate business revenue and massive impact, that's what I would do. So let me recap. Step number 1 is to commit. Step number 2 is to set your intentions. Step number 3 is to choose your audience. Step number 4 is to add book time to your calendar. Step number 5 is to hire a coach, a company, or find an accountability partner for additional support. Step number 6 is to create a detailed outline. And step number 7 is to write your rough draft and not worry about perfection, but rather completion. There you have it. This is what I would do if I were to start over and I wanted to write an amazing, high quality book that I'm proud of in 30 days or less. So look, if you enjoyed this, I go really deep into this entire process in my book, Big Idea to Bestseller. This is the ultimate guide on how to actually write, publish, and launch a nonfiction book. And so if you would like to learn more about this, I want to give you a free copy of the book. Just go to bigidea2bestseller.com free dash book and go ahead and grab a copy for yourself. And if you know that you want more help and you're ready to commit, you already feel like you have your audience, but you need help actually building out the game plan of what it takes to write your book, then book a call with our team. Schedule a demo, we'll talk with you, and we'll really help you flush out the concept and set up what needs to happen in order for you to go from where you're at to where you want to be. And you can just go to bigideatoBestseller.com/call, schedule a demo, and me or my team will gladly hop on and chat with you and help you make your book dream come true. So there you have it. Talk to you later.